Sentence pattern 2, the elliptical construction. When studying these sentence patterns, you might have noticed that we chose to skip over sentence pattern 2. It's a fairly sophisticated sentence pattern. Sentence pattern 2 is a compound sentence with an elliptical construction. Remember, a compound sentence includes two independent clauses. An elliptical construction means that the second clause omits or leaves out an unnecessary implied verb. This pattern leaves out the verb in the second clause because and only if it would needlessly repeat the verb of the first clause. Take a look at this sentence. Michael preferred to email, John preferred to tweet. If I were to take out the repeated verb preferred in the second clause, the reader or listener would still know what was meant. In the elliptical construction, the sentence would look more like, Michael preferred to email, John to tweet. It is important to note that there is a comma in place of the omitted verb. This is very important to remember. The comma indicates that the verb omitted is the same verb as the one in the first clause. The comma says to the reader, mentally insert the same verb you have already read in the first clause. One thing that is important to note is that the wording in both clauses, specifically the verb, must be exactly the same. See the following example. This example is not parallel. It reads, we like classical music. George, punk rock. The first clause's verb is like. We like classical music. But the omitted verb in the second clause is not identical to the first clause. If we were to add the verb in place of the comma, it would be proper to say George likes punk rock. Likes is different from the first clause's verb, like. So this sentence is not parallel. Therefore, it does not work. It is acceptable to omit more than just the verb if the meaning of the sentence is still clear. See this example. For many of us, the new math teacher was a savior. For others, a pain. Do we know what is being talked about where it says a pain? Yes, we know that the pain is the new math teacher, even though that information was left out of the second clause. So, not only does this sentence omit the verb was, it also omits the subject, the new math teacher, in the second clause. Sometimes the verb is exactly like the one in the first clause, but you still may have an awkward sounding sentence if you omit too many words or if you forget the importance of rhythm and sound. Here's what I mean. Let's read this aloud. Bill played a musical number by Bach, Joan Beethoven. We might know that what is meant is that Joan played a musical number by Beethoven. However, at first read, it sounds as though Bill played something written by three people, Bach, Joan, Beethoven. When you leave out more than the verb, you may need to put in a word, such as one here. Now the sentence reads, Bill played a musical number by Bach, Joan one by Beethoven. Now, go ahead and stop the video and rewrite the following compound constructions to form elliptical sentences.